All right. Thanks,
Perfect.
Toby. Go ahead.
No problem. I just want to thank you, Christine, for having me again. I always love these when I am able to join you guys and do stuff like this. So thank you very much for having me. Is everybody able to see my screen okay?
We can see the screen, Toby, but now you're choppy. Your voice, maybe you do need to turn off your
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I just turned it off. Is that better?
it's better. Yes.
Yeah, perfect. All right. All right. So thank you again, Christine, for having me. And thank you guys. I appreciate you spending some time with me today. I'm not going to talk too much about myself. Just Christine's pretty much done it all already. But for you guys that want to know specifically, what I do is I really try to focus on working with transforming heart-centered businesses to really establish those deeper connections with like their clients, with individuals to make a lasting impact beyond the present, address consequences of fragmented processes on revenue, and fine-tune workflows to maximize customer value, retention, and referrals. So for me, I am a person that I feel like you need to take a holistic approach to working with your clients. And it's not always about the business, it should be about their personal well being too. So, really kind of going beyond the money aspect. So, our agenda for today is going to be broken down into four parts. So, the first part is business processes. The second, I'm going to get into is systems, automations, and I'm going to finish off with client retention and business growth. So, what is recharge your systems for business growth? For me, this might mean something to somebody else, but I look at it as that you're streamlining your systems in a way that will shape unforgettable client experiences. It's one of the most valuable business self evaluations that you can do. And it gives you the opportunity to really identify quick wins that can provide early improvements. Why is it important? I think I don't know about anybody else and if everybody wants to raise their hand to it, but I know 2023 was a challenging year for me in regards to maintaining clients. The economy was a little bit, rough, and I feel like for people that hire VAs or use administrative professionals, I feel like we're always the first one to kind of get chopped because I feel like people feel like we're this, luxury item to have. But then let's be real, they usually find out pretty quick that that's not the case when they have to go back to doing everything themselves. But for me, why this is important is that it allows you to really sustain and thrive, whether you're going through tumultuous times in the economy, your professional or personal life. I feel like it eliminates complacency. I think all of us probably can, relate to that fact that sometimes, we kind of just go with the flow once we get comfortable in our business. And I really find that this really empowers decision making, which is probably the most important thing. So there's a few things that I'm hoping by the end of this presentation that you guys will be able to take away. Cleaning up your business processes, minimizing waste, decluttering and streamlining your processes, gaining a fresh perspective on organizing your business for growth and scalability, and then obviously, acquiring the tools to implement practical changes that will lead to measurable results. So this part I know you guys have in your handout that I gave you. So you can, I don't know if anybody's printed it out. I didn't really put an actual box on here to fill in, but if you just want to actually write this on a piece of paper, and if you guys want to just add questions to it at the end, but I really want everyone to write this question down, make notes around it. And I said, if you ask questions, um, it's really the most, I think, important question kind of starts to get your brain thinking when you ask yourself, are all aspects of your business functioning as it should? So the first thing I'm going to get into is business processes. So the first thing is standard operating procedures. I'm sure everybody has heard about this, and I feel like everybody knows that it's important, but let's be real. When you're busy and you're trying to, follow up on those leads and trying to get the sales, this is one of the first things that I find with my clients that fall to the wayside. And it's unfortunate because when you get into a mode of growing and all of those things. And sometimes everything culminates all at once. You get busy, this, that, and then you realizing that you have to hire people. This becomes a nightmare when you don't have this in place. So when I work with my clients, and especially when I am in a situation where I'm working on, optimization projects, these are non-negotiable for me. Like it's there's no option. If you don't have them, this is the first thing that we're going to be doing before we start any type of work. And the biggest example I can give for this, like some people that I know personally in this group probably know this. Like I lost my mom in 2019. And starting in 2019, before the pandemic, my mom got cancer. And I just had hired somebody. And before then, I'm not going to lie, I was guilty of it too. But because I knew I was hiring her, I made sure everything I had was in place and not knowing that my mom was going to end up obviously getting sick. But because of that, I was able to go to Edmonton. And because I can work from anywhere we want, most of us all can, I was able to take my mom to every appointment. I was able to be there for her surgery, all of those things, and be present with her when she needed me the most. And, at that time, I didn't know that I was going to be in the last window of being with my mom, but it was because of that, of me being able to download that knowledge to somebody else, that I was able to have that quality time with her right up until the time that, she transitioned and left me. So if you take away anything from this presentation today, please take that away, that if you are growing or you feel like you're going to grow, I think that's everybody's expectation when they start a business. I'm saying if you even have to start small in regards to documenting what you need for SOPs, do that and block out time. Be intentional about making time for creating these and also keeping them updated. Just start somewhere. That's all I'm asking you. So the next thing I want to talk about is workflow efficiency. So what is it? It's really general pattern, process, and performance that you and your team complete a project with. So for me, really becomes important because there's really kind of four elements that causes workflow inefficiency. Sorry. So repetitive and unnecessary tasks. Everybody knows about that. Like, it's a major source of inefficiency and is a big waste of one of the most important resources that we have. And I'm sure everybody knows what it is. You could probably type it in the chat, which is time. It's often the case that this leads to a lot of miscommunication between teams as well. And I'm going to touch more on that in a bit. The next one is obviously manual data entry. So, this is one that sometimes we don't really have control over, like it's very labor intensive. We can't avoid it. So, even if you're an Excel wizard or whatever the case may be, again, these are tasks that waste so much time, besides the fact that they're labor intensive and it's in an extremely, manual process, right? The next one is obviously human error. We're all human. Nobody is a robot here, right? But it's also another area where there's a waste of time and productivity, right? And it isn't something that obviously we can automatically fix, right? We'll always make mistakes, and why it's not fully unavoidable, it can be minimized. And that can be minimized through creating a structured method of working, where your people are never wondering what comes next, right? So this means that you're always working towards a specific goal, which helps improve your focus and efficiency. And then the last one, obviously, is miscommunication. This is the biggest reason out of this whole entire list for inefficiency and leads to many other issues, one of which is going back to the first one, repetitive work, right? So this one should really be able to be solved in the workplace and can be improved, right? Which is what I'm going to go through today, with different tools and, just increase the transparency in the workplace, right? So whiteboards is a good one. I know that I love using those when I am doing interactive type of work sessions. And just like even having instant communication tools, as everybody knows, like Slack. So here's some actionable strategies that, I have added here. So the first one, as I said, standard operating procedures are non-negotiable. I'm not even going to get into too much about that. I think it's self-explanatory. I talked about that. All of these variables kind of like are interconnected with one another. So, you really can gauge where you are current state and seeing where you can improve, right? So when eliminating waste, it should be thought of both in terms of time, effort, and money, right? So improving workflow efficiency is about removing the amount of waste created in however many departments that you have. So even if you wear more than one hat, if you really think about it, it's still not you're not one department. You have different areas of departments, even if you're wearing all the hats. So you really got to really look at everything and decide where you can remove any type of waste. Resource allocation, right? So part of improving workflow efficiency is your resources in the right places, right? So if it means taking resources away from other places where it's not productive and reallocating them to somewhere where it's better for better use, that's what you should be doing. Obviously, human error, as we discussed, this one is not fixable, so to speak, and it can't be removed entirely, but you definitely can improve on it by obviously getting the right people in to the jobs, or just even for yourself. As I said, for me, and I'm sure a lot of people have other practices, is like blocking out time where I'm able to do what I call for myself deep work, and I don't have any interruptions. So my phone is off. Anything that can be a distraction is off. So I'm able to really focus and eliminate any type of human error that can occur, and especially when I'm working on big projects. So, when you're able to basically have the people in the right positions, right, it's really going to eliminate obviously having fewer errors and obviously improve their individual efficiency. The overall output. This is one of the main goals of improving workflow efficiency is being able to increase the overall output for the team. So this means that you're both churning out results at a quicker and more efficient rate. So you're able to do things more often. And then obviously the quality of, your services. And I know for some people, like Laura, for example, they sell product, right? So sometimes you're not focused on the amount of product that you're selling or being produced, but you're focused on increasing the awareness of the quality of your services or just even the quality of your product. For example, I know I'll use Laura again. She does Mary Kay, and I think every woman knows about Mary Kay because it's reputable, right? So this is a separate goal of improving workflow efficiency and can be prioritized similarly to the overall output, right? So these are some actionable strategy that I think that you guys can use in regards to business processes. The next one we're going to get into is about systems. So I think that mostly everybody has a type of CRM. What it is really is a set of integrated data-driven software solutions that help manage, track, and store information related to your company's current and potential customers. So I know for me, and then I'm probably is again going to age myself when I first started, I didn't have the luxury of having a lot of money to do a lot of things. So I used what I could. Back in the day, I think everybody remembers with Microsoft, they had the CD. You had to install your CD to like, you know, put in your actual applications as what we refer to them now. So when I first started my CRM, which I didn't know at the time was a CRM, was Access. That's what I used for everything. Um, and I feel like everybody, no matter where you're starting, you need to have some type of client relation management tool, whether it's paid for or unpaid for, because you really, for me, client stewardship starts right at the beginning of when people are coming, quote unquote, into your funnel, right? So you don't know somebody's going to buy something from you, but the whole intention is hopefully they will. But even if they don't, in my mind, they reach out to me because there was something that they saw of either you or myself that they thought was adding value. So even if they might not directly need my service, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, somebody they might know might need it. And so I always want to be front of mind in regards to them thinking of, oh, I know Tovey works with, she does long-term placement, for example, as an online business manager. I don't need her, but I know Sophie needs her. So let me reach out to her. But it's hard to manage when it's like everything is everywhere and in piecemeal. You have an email here, you might have something in Facebook Messenger. It just becomes very convoluted and very hard to track. And this is how a lot of us, I believe to myself, lose opportunities, right? So here's just some key benefits, right? It's really all in the numbers. It improves leads conversions rates by 300%, customer retention by 27%. It shortened the sales cycle by 24. You can increase your revenue per sale. And that's another thing. And one of the things that I highlighted in what my goal is in working with my clients is really to be able to create those deeper connections so people are actually spending more when they're actually even going to do one sale with you. And then obviously saving 23% on sales and marketing costs, right? So, in other words, CRMs can really help you make more sales at a higher value, faster, and for less cost. So, two main goals of using software is getting organized, obviously, and making complex tasks easier to accomplish. So, I know all of us probably have our favorite type of CRM. I really try to push if you can afford it, if you're in that stage of your entrepreneurial journey and can afford it. HubSpot is one, Salesforce is another one. A lot of these you guys have probably heard about Pipedrive, Honeybook. I'm pretty sure specific to the Mac, Apple, Insightly, and Dubsado. Like as I said, there's so many more 17 hats. I think everybody has their preference. But as I said, ideally it would be to purchase an all-in-one because then we can get into what I'm going to talk about later. Most of those systems have like stuff that you can do automations. So here are some actionable strategies. As I said, if you have to piecemeal a combination of free and affordable applications, man, I'm just saying just do it because really it's better than actually nothing, right? Even if that is your case with what just work with what you have. And for me it was hard because I'm a person that loves to learn. I love technology. I want to try everything, but as I said, when I first started out, it just was not possible, so I had to work with what I had. It's all in the follow-up. Can't stress this enough, and I think everybody knows this because it's probably repeated 110 times, but you know 80% of the sales really necessitate at least 5 follow-up calls, right? So you really need to have something in place that you're keeping track of your contact attempts. 4% of people usually give up after just one follow-up call, right? So you can't really expect, I guess, to go the distance if you're really not willing to invest, right? So just know that you're never gonna make probably a sale on the first try, you know? So deliver value to your customers as soon as they make a purchase, right? So you want to make the onboarding process as quick as possible, as quick as smooth, right? Setting mutually agreed upon goals, identifying whatever you guys are going to monitor for progress, timely support if they need have questions, or they're trying to adopt, if you have to train and support um, people, especially too. I know I do a lot of end user training when I do any type of implementation, right? So I think it's just making sure that you're always adding value to whatever purchase is being made. Obviously, collecting valuable feedback. Customer feedback is critical. I know nobody really likes to, I know for myself, still, I get nervous even after the fact that I work with somebody. And sometimes people don't, express all of their feelings. And then when you ask them to do a survey, you're thinking to yourself, it's going to be good. And I've had instances where I've been surprised by some of the comments, right? But I think we all have to realize in business, you can't really take everything personal, but you do have to ask for customer feedback. It's absolutely critical because how are you going to make improvements, right? So, you're not only addressing the customer experience issues, but you're enhancing the value of your products and your services, right? So there's a various ways that you can do it. I feel like everybody's different. You could do surveys, phone calls, questionnaires, emails, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, this is something that you need to do. And to me, this is like almost like the SOPs. It's like non-negotiable, right? So I think for all of us, the ultimate goal really is good customer service to increase sales and customer loyalty. And obviously, the last one is integrating systems. So ensuring compatibility and seamless integration between your applications that you do have and your existing infrastructure, because you really want to avoid data silos, even in actual applications and measurement gaps. And that's why, for me, if I always suggest that the goal should be to lead up to an all-in-one system if you can, or if you can't do an all-in-one system, you should have applications that you can integrate with a third party, for example, like Zapier, if that makes sense. The next one I'm going to talk about is automations, right? So I'd like everybody just to answer this question for me in the chat. You can say with a simple yes or no. Does automation have a negative or positive impact on the customer experience? So if you just put negative or positive, I'd like to see everybody's reaction for this one. Look at that. Martina says positive. Glenna says negative. Cheryl says positive, positive. Okay, so a lot of positives here. Valerie, both. I like that. Laura's negative. All right. So we have a mixture here, right? So, for me, I said everybody probably knows about Chat GPT now, right? So, and I feel like every application has some type of AI type of feature, right? So, for example, a lot of people know, and I did a presentation about this before, I love using Fathom when I take meetings, when I have meetings. And the reason why I do is because I'm not going to lie, I hate taking minutes. It is the most precious tool or application I've ever had because I hate it and I find it to be a waste of time. So, I think everything in moderation. So I can understand when Valerie says kind of a mixture of both. I understand for some people, you know, about the negative, like Glenna says, she feels like it's negative. But I feel like if, it's neither, I feel like you have to find the right balance based on knowing your audience, right? So if you know your audience, you know really what is going to work for them. But I think people have to realize the way that technology is advancing, there's going to be no way to avoid, especially AI. I don't want to say it's going to take over. It's never going to replace people. But I figure, people are going to have to accept the using of it, regardless if they want to or not, if they're going to want to progress, I feel like in their business. So, based on that, how can you make your customers feel valued? So, I love personalized notes, and I'm going to give a perfect example. I recently joined the steering team committee for 100 women, and I went to my mailbox a couple weeks ago, wasn't expecting this, and there was a personalized card handwritten by Christine welcoming me. And I can't even tell you how special those types of things make me feel. And I think it means so much more to me because, like, my mom always used to send cards to me for every occasion, Christine. So just seeing that handwritten card, I have not seen a handwritten card in so long. I can't tell you how much that meant to me. And you wouldn't even know that until I told you right now. So personalized notes, I don't care if your handwriting is janky. Let me tell you something, it makes a difference. So thank you, Christine, for that. But that's one definite way that you can make your customers feel valued. Who doesn't love a swag bag? Okay. Like, who doesn't like free little things? I know that I do. So, did you hit a milestone? Share the win with your clients, right? By sending them swag bags. They most likely really help you get there if you think about it, right? So add in your unique branded items that closely resonate with your culture and your style. Mugs and planners are kind of passe, right? So think tech accessories like, a wireless mouse, phone covers, pop sockets, like anything tech wise, right? The next one I think is a good one is always regular check-ins. This is where I go back to having the CRM. I know for me now that I do have a CRM, one of the things that I do I am able to add in personal notes for my clients that I have. So if we get into a discussion where they're talking about their kids or they mention their spouse or they mention their dog, cats, because I know we have a few probably pet parents on here. Those are notes that I actually make. So when I do my regular check-ins, and they don't have to be like I don't like everything just being so regimented and like, "Hey, like, hi, Christine, how are you? Da da da." Like, I just want to be like, "Hey, what's up, Laura? How you doing, girl? Whatever. Make it casual. What's up? What have you been up to? Da 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 da." Right? I feel like people appreciate that more versus I'm not a salesy person, and I'm going to be honest and admit I've always struggled with this part of business because I just don't ever wanna sound like a used car salesperson, like, it's just gives me the ibby jibbies, right? So, do check-ins with your clients, make them feel like you're dedicating that one-on-one time with them, ask them about their concerns, ask them if they have any questions, ask them to share direct feedback, right? This way, you're able to get ahead of situations if there is, and control the outcome as much as possible. And then social recognition. Are you embarking on a new client partnership? Announce it on your LinkedIn page, Facebook page, recognize them in a social media post to show your excitement about kicking off the partnership and how it demonstrates your values. So, benefits of CR automations obviously streamlining tasks, right? So you can get more done without sacrificing precious hours, especially when it comes to the onboarding process. I feel like everybody knows that can be very much a convoluted and time consuming process. You're able to increase sales conversions by focusing on, your hottest leads and then really kind of focusing your attention and figuring out how you're going to build that connection with them. It's a way to improve your customer satisfaction by attending to customer service issues promptly. I feel like for me, I know for some people, it's not a big deal, but I know for myself, I work for an agency where one of the things that we always promise our clients is a 3-hour SLA. And that doesn't mean that we have to get the work done within 3 hours, but it's just that acknowledgement of saying that I received your request to let people know that their stuff is not getting thrown by the wayside or you're just too busy to answer, right? Obviously improving customer satisfaction, as I had mentioned. And another thing, going back again to workflow inefficiencies, reducing manual errors, right? Um, you're able to pull data from different sources to really see the big picture. Boost customer engagement, right? By integrating stuff like AI powered chatbots. So know to yourself that even when you're using technology and it might be AI or chatbots, it has come a long way that you can really personalize a lot of these things. That even though the message is like automatic, you can still make it sound like your voice and still make it feel welcoming, right? And starting to establish that relationship. The last item I'm going to talk about here is these are just like the common CRM automations talking about marketing, sales, and customer service. I know for people, we use some of these words like interchangeably, but they actually are really different in the fact of the type of automations that they are. I think mostly everybody's more familiar with obviously marketing automation, sales automation also probably as well, but marketing and sales are not the same. And I just want to make that clear if nobody understands what that is. You can reach out to me. We can have like a side discussion, but I really just wanted to clarify that those are not the same things, right? Of those types of automations. These are the type of things that you can automate, right? So usually dashboards are a main feature of CRM systems. I know I love that because sometimes I don't always have the time to drill down to every report. So I like the fact that I can open up my CRM and get a visual summary and look at any key metrics in a format that is easy digestible and it's able to tell me information kind of right at that point, you know? So instead of going through the complex steps to like compile, pull data from here, there, and everywhere, just try to configure your dashboard as much as possible to display the information that you want to keep track of, right? So this can be anything from sales to the number of leads on each channel, where people are at on their onboarding process. So that's a trigger. Maybe you have to follow up. But any of these things that you see on this slide here, really things are all the things that you can really consider automating. And the last section we're going to talk about here, I'm going to just forward over to the automations and the actionable strategies. So be willing to adapt your technology trends, processes, and systems, right? So I don't think any of us honestly can keep up with how fast technology moves. So I would just say try your best. I know that I subscribe to like a lot of, for example, Google Alerts. I'm part of a lot of different subscriptions that specifically highlight those types of things um, about different types of technologies coming out, trends, process. So, it's just crucial to really know the other side of automation. Obviously, the second one, and I think this mostly is for people that have teams, because I know there's a few VA agency owners in here, and they probably could relate to this, is just addressing any resistance to change from team members, right? Because I know there's that struggle right now of people really being threatened by automation. So I really think it's imperative that people emphasize the benefits and opportunities it can bring. Obviously, customer retention goes beyond sending an email. We are all humans. We have personalities, we have potential, drive, and motivation, right? So we need to be focused on forming and deepening personal relationships, right? Qualities, as we said, that AI cannot do, right? So it is unlikely, as I had mentioned before, that AI will ever replace us as people because they just lack, right? That human like consciousness that a lot of us need to feel that connection to make it let us know that we're a right fit when we're working with somebody, right? I think there's a blended approach is the best way to serve customers. You know, it's not one way is going to work, right? So you need your human touch, right? That's absolutely imperative. But, there's some instances where we can automate to give those fast, simple responses using automations, right? So as I said, it's a question of really knowing your audience and what their preference is. And the last bullet is optimize the customer journey. So while improved efficiency may be an important motivator to automate aspects of customer service, leveraging client segmentation for personalized interactions is a great way to successfully greatly improve customer satisfaction. Let me give you a statistic here. It says 88% of customers say the experience a company provides is as important as its product or services. So that is a huge number, right? So, if you really want to survive, it's going to be really imperative that you use tools like client segmentation so you're able to, improve that customer experience that you're giving a quality above average experience every time. And then the last section I want to just talk about is, I said irreplaceable, but I crossed out the IR because the reality of the situation, as I had explained in the previous slide, is that we're all replaceable, right? And this slide here basically, 54% consumers say that they have a higher customer service expectations than they had earlier. I know I do just because of the fact that I feel like customer service in some industries have gone total into the gutter. So I really this is a big deal for me. And then 93% of customers are likely to make repeat purchases with businesses that offer great customer service. That is a huge number. And I don't think that anybody should take that for granted, which is why I'm saying is that the reality is that if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing as a service provider, somebody else will do it for you. And that's just what it is. So, client retention, acquiring a new customer is 5 to 25 times more expensive than retaining an existing one. And this is why I'm a big person on talking about the fact that as soon as somebody leads into your quote unquote funnel, you need to be building that relationship because it costs way more money, as you can see, to always be in this position that you're spending money on marketing and advertising to try to get new customers in. Companies lose over $1.6 trillion each year due to customers bailing after a poor service experience. And the probability of selling to an existing customer is 60 to 70%, while for a new prospect, it is only 5 to 20%. So here's just obviously a few benefits: increase ROI, reduces marketing cost, builds customer loyalty, drives customer acquisition. For 86% of good customer service, for people that receive good customer service, turns one-time clients into long-term brand champions. And just some common challenges, I'll just go through these quickly. A big chunk of our time is spending on tasks that we don't have, that don't add value. Things that are overwhelming and we don't know where to start. We're always working in the business versus on the business. You have to look at all of the operations for a change to be valuable and make a difference. So overcoming this, as I had mentioned before, is just find some time, block some time, create and document processes that are streamlined so that anyone can step in and give you support, and determine if you keep things status quo or do 1 to 2 quick hits that will positively contribute to top objectives, revenue productivity, and etc. So I'm going to leave my presentation here. I do have a few more slides, but I'm not going to go through them because I think maybe people have some questions, but I do want to actually fast forward to here because I am going to do a giveaway. So I'm actually just going to keep it on this slide if you don't mind, Christine. I actually have created a Recharge Your Operations workbook. And so I want to put everybody on this call or even on the replay into a draw if you're interested in getting one. This is what you have to do. So you can either scan the QR code or you can send me an email. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions? I hope some of this information was valuable to everybody.
Well, it was certainly a lot of information, covered a lot of
Yes.
ground. And I wrote down 3 areas that I know I need to automate so that I'm not spending my precious minutes doing the tasks. That is really mundane, right? It's
Yes.
not. I always say if it doesn't involve your personality, someone else should do it.
Correct. Yes.
That's my opinion. If it doesn't involve you, your special skill and your personality, then you need to pay someone to do it so you could be doing that wow stuff.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
I would like to know if you have like quick 1, 2, 3 steps on generating your SOPs. Like what is the first, second, and third thing one should do when they're going to sit down for the first time to create their SOPs or standard operating procedures?
Um, I'm gonna probably answer this in 2 ways. So for people that are like old school traditional, I always say templates are the best thing to have. I think you need to figure out what you want to include in your SOP. When I created mine, I pulled out the best parts from a few SOPs and I have created a template. And if you guys actually go to, I have underneath the services section of my website, you guys actually can download my free SOP template that I have there. And I also have a cheat sheet. So that's another thing that I have, Christine, is that all the actual SOPs that I have created, I have one master sheet that somebody can go to that if I'm bringing on versus them having to search every folder in order to find things. because then that means I'm going to get more emails of people asking me questions. And again, as you're saying, taking away time, right? So I think from a manual aspect, and then for me, because I said I love technology, there's a lot of tools that I use. I personally am a visual person, so I like to do videos and incorporate them into my SOPs. So I just recently am testing another tool. I used to use Tango, was one application that I used. I recently just downloaded the one that I'm about to start testing. It's called Komodo, I think. And this is like an integrative one where, it shows as you're pointing to the screen, it's actually capturing the actual steps. Like it's has an AI feature integration into it. So it's picking up your actual steps of your SOP just by you like going onto the screen and clicking things. And you can capture the video as well. So I'm always testing out new applications. I know, there's some SOPs that I know, as I said, live in. For example, I use ClickUp as a project management tool. So some of my SOPs live within an actual list because it's linked to other related lists of processes in my ClickUp.
Okay, so just to step back and say, if
Yeah.
you're going to tell someone the 3 steps you need to start documenting your SOPs, what would that be? I've got your template now. I've got your SOP template.
Yep.
Is it brainstorming and writing down all of the things that you do to complete a particular task? Is
For
it like,
me, what
yeah,
I usually do for myself, Christine, is I record myself doing the actual task and then I actually speak through it. And then I actually transcribe it and create it into a written document. So then I don't have to type it out myself.
okay.
So I'm able just to basically clean up the transcription. And then if I have to enter any print screens, I can do that. But I also have the video already done as well.
Excellent. So I do use, when I'm training someone, I use Loom and I
Yeah.
create videos and send that way. But okay, so you're saying that Komodo is an app that would allow you to actually walk through your task, let's say task A, and
Yeah.
as you're walking through it, capture all the screen and you're talking, going behind why you're clicking this, why you're choosing that, the thing to watch out for, and then it makes a transcription of that.
Yes, it does. And I'm testing that and it's an actual Chrome extension. So obviously there's a I'm testing out the free one right now. And as you know, with everything, right? Something's
Yeah.
free and then,
So
usually they try to get you with a paid plan, but
yeah,
neither here or there.
again, you're going to start off with brainstorming all your tasks.
Absolutely. Even if
Brainstorm
it's
all
in
the
bullet,
tasks.
even if it's in bullet form, like, and that's for me why I just usually, if I know I have a task to do, I just usually record it and transcribe it because I'm already doing all the steps anyways. It doesn't have to be the best of you talking or anything, right?
Yeah,
And I prefer that way because sometimes I just don't have the patience to write it down or type it out, Christine. So I'd rather
yeah,
just talk it out
yeah.
into a video and then just transcribe it if I need to.
So for someone to get started, again, I know I keep going back to the starting point.
No, no, and I'm happy
So
you're asking it
basically,
because, as
you're
I
gonna
said,
just
SOPs are
brainstorm all
non-negotiable.
brainstorm all of the tasks that you do, write them all down, and then in any given day, as you start doing the task, just record it all, and then you can kind of fit it together into an actual procedures manual.
Yes, and to be honest, I would say that speaking specifically for you, and I know how busy you are, that's why you have an assistant. And that's why I usually record as well, is because I can pass it off to somebody for them to basically fine tune it.
Yeah. So I have a few assistants and I have piecemeal here, piecemeal there. So this person knows this and this person knows this and this person knows this. But that whole idea, if I were to go away for 2 weeks and not take any work with me, that it doesn't happen because there's 3 different people doing 3 different jobs and they don't interact and talk to one another. That's why I need to create this one
Yes,
overarching, yeah.
document and lives in one place, right? So everybody knows what they're responsible for.
Awesome. Okay, there's a few more hands that have gone up.
Yep.
Can I just, did everybody get that QR code? Can I take that off the screen? Actually, can you just stop the share? Because I can only
Yeah,
see 6 people in the window. So I know
yeah,
that Louise has a
perfect.
question.
Hi there. Hi, Tovey.
Hi, Louise.
um, I just have a question, and it's a real dumbass question because this is what I do.
There's no dumb questions, Louise. There's no dumb questions. Don't say that.
Well, when you're saying that you store it all in one manual or one document or something like that, where are you putting it? Are you putting it in a Google Drive that everyone can access? Are you holding it on your computer? Are you printing it out and having a paper copy? I'm just curious because this is one of the things that I'm facing just now. We have the SOPs to do, and we have some of them, but I'm trying to work out how exactly I'm going to structure that physically in a drive somewhere so that it's usable for people.
Do you
I'm just
have a
curious
team?
what other
Do you work with your team in person, Louise, or do you work with them virtually?
mainly in person actually. Did you hear
Oh,
that? I said mainly in person. Sorry, I think my headphones trying to
Sorry, I put myself on mute for a second by accident. So mainly in person, like even if you have mainly in person, I would still say paper copy is not the best way to go, just because of the fact that when you start creating SOPs, Louise, it's like a working document. So it's always capturing steps in time, process in time, because you're always looking to improve something, right? So my suggestion to you is to create, you have two options. If you want to use like an SOP template, um, then I would say create like put it on like on a cloud drive, whether you use OneDrive or whether you use Google Drive, and make sure you share it with all of your team members. Now, if
Yeah,
you are using a task management tool, like for example, I use ClickUp, and because I can create like a workspace called SOPs, for example, right, Louise, all I
yeah,
have to do is invite my team to the application and invite them to that specific workspace, and they're able to see everything because in ClickUp, it allows me to create documents as well.
right. This is what I think I'm looking for, is something that's a bit more online. So if you change it, you're changing it at root. You're not chasing
Yes,
around to make sure that everyone's seen the update, right?
yes, in real time, right? In real time. And that's the biggest thing is like even if you do a traditional template for the one that I have a page on there where I always keep track of like the version history of what changes on that document. But as I said, if you're using a task management template, or even if you're using a Google Doc, right? I always just make sure that I add something on there to basically people know when the last time that version was updated. So everybody knows that they're working with the most recent thing.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thanks.
I definitely feel that, for example, the 100 Women team, we do everything on the Google Drive and the Google folders. Not everyone is well versed, so it does take a little bit of getting used to directing people. And we had one instance where someone, I don't know what happened, but they deleted everything and it wiped our stuff out. Yeah, so we had to start again. Yeah. So there's pros and cons to it, but yeah, I think having a digital
Yeah.
is
And
so helpful.
That's
and
actually
most
interesting.
yeah, and most interest in most instances too, like stuff like Google, where you're using their online applications, they usually have a way that you can restore the last version, right? They have a version history log. So sometimes, honestly, Christine, I see your pain when you say that because it's happened to me a few times, and that thing has saved me.
Yeah.
So just
Is
know that most things have a version history. And if it doesn't, if you're looking for like an application, Louise, that's honestly one of the features that I would look to see that it has,
yeah.
that
I
you're
was just
able to restore things.
yeah,
So you have,
our backup system, you can actually trigger your backup system from the Google Drive. So Google has a tool where you can trigger your computer to go to a backup file and save it every night at midnight. So if that had happened to you, Christine, you would have been able to go back to yesterday's file and re-upload it and rescue it from there. And the Google Drive allows you to do that. And I really don't like Google Drive much, but that on its own makes it worth it for me, because if something like that happens and you're on your own running the business. If you lose everything, then you've lost everything. You know what I mean? And so for that reason, we do have a backup system, and the Google Drive is worth it just for that alone, I think. So it's worth checking that as well.
Yeah. And if you
So
like,
you
everybody
mentioned-
has their preference, right? So Dropbox is another option. I know a lot of people like that. OneDrive. So there's a few options that anybody can use for cloud storage.
I mean, overall, I love Google Drive and the Google sharing. We use it like crazy because we work on a lot of documents together. It's so great.
Yes.
I was just going to ask, you mentioned ClickUp has
Yes.
SOP, an actual SOP like component to it. Is that what I heard you say? You can create SOPs, then you can invite people to different parts of the
Yeah,
SOP.
that's what they do have templates in there that you can use. So you can create like a workspace, pull out one of their templates. Like literally there's probably thousands of templates for a variety of things. So you can use it as a base and then adjust it the way that you want to adjust it, Christine. So I've used it for that. But everything I do, I usually customize it to whatever I need, but at least it gives me a base to start with, right? Which I really appreciate, because sometimes starting the things from scratch is usually half the battle, right?
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Anybody else? Any questions, thoughts, feedback?
I just want to say, oh my God. Just because I'm only just starting out and I've never really considered all of this stuff before. So it's just, yeah, it's wow. And I mean, it is opening my eyes though to see like these are the kind of steps that I'm going to have to start to take so that I can actually run my business efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
So the CRM systems, what do you feel is the absolute best? Because I have multiple businesses that I'll be starting and including nutrition. So we were suggested in the school to do the Jane app. I don't know if you've heard of that, which
Yeah,
I don't
I
know
have.
if that's a CRM system. I'm not quite sure because I'm still learning here, but what would be the best? Or is it just very on based on the business that you are providing?
I think it's sometimes based on the business providing. So you cut out a little bit there, Valerie. What type of business are you in?
I do multiple things, but I'm just finishing up my certification as a nutritionist.
Yeah.
And so I do that and Reiki, and I'm also a brand partner for Young Living. So I have a few things that I'm doing, and I haven't quite got there yet where I'm fusing it all together because I'm still in a growth stage. But this stuff is very, like, I know that this is probably something it'll be very important to implement. So I'm just wondering to piece all those together so I don't have so many different systems for each thing. Is there a system that would work on for all of them?
Yes. So for you, for the type of work that you do, because I know for Jane, a lot of people use that when they're in not only your type of industry, but I find like even people that do like beauty and stuff like that to use that application. And yes, it is a version of a CRM because you're basically able to have your person, for example, book an appointment as soon as they come into your application, and that's their profile. So that is a CRM where you can store them, keep notes on them, and all of that stuff, which I'm sure Jane does all of that. So
and it would provide as well like reminders for you because I have 4 kids, so it's like you're busy and trying to stay on top, so you'll get probably reminders. Jane does that as well.
Absolutely. And I think you probably can set up SMS and email through that depending on what information that they provide you. So I feel like you have a good tool with Jane as a CRM, Valerie, to start out, and then you don't have to worry about trying to piecemeal a whole bunch of things together.
Yeah, because that's why I'm just like, you guys blew my mind today though. Thank you so much.
I know quite a few RMTs who use Jane, and my RMT chiropractic clinic, thank goodness they use Jane now because all our bookings online, and we go in, update our profile, do our bookings online. And yeah, I love that I'm getting not just an email reminder, but I'm getting a text reminder because my inbox is so full over there.
And you can set up all your forms in there too, right? Like all your onboarding forms. Like I think, as I said, I agree with Christine. I think you have a very good application, and that application is known, as I said, for health and wellness type industry. So I think you're good there.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No problem. I know we're a little bit over and I want to respect people's time, but if anybody has another question, I can stay for another minute or so.
Okay, I think we are good. I
Okay.
will, I've already sent an email with all of Toby's contact information. I'm going to, if it's okay with you, Toby, if you could just send me that one screenshot, if that's all right, with the QR code for those people
Yep.
who missed it, or if we didn't get it here today, I'll include that in the email that I send you with the recording if anyone wants to go back and listen, because there was a lot of information
And
that you shared
I hope that's a
today.
good thing. I know it's a lot and it's heavy, but I hopefully you guys walked away with at least one thing.
Well, I mean,
And
it
that
was
was
an
part of the,
hour, right? So it was a really great
yeah,
overview of and
yeah,
reinforcement that no matter how long you've been in business, you gotta do these things. And there's no time, but you said it a couple of times. You need to make the time. You need to book the time. Put the 2
yeah.
hours in this week for the next, 6 or 7 weeks. Then you've got your SOPs. Then you can go on vacation and breathe.
Yes, exactly. And it's worth it, right? Because you're not checking about your email, wondering what's going wrong and every other thing, right? So, as I said, and that's why I did the handout as well. So you guys
Yeah.
at least have the highlights and can go back. And then there's a few checklist questions there that you guys can just go back and do your own assessment, of where you guys are
Final
at.
question, Toby. Final question. Are you accepting clients right now to help them either discovery call, consultation, or help them build out their SOPs? Is that something that your
Yes.
VA agency does?
Yes, I am
Okay.
doing that because, as I said, I've realized it's been an ongoing thing that I've been having to help people with. And because it's a non-negotiable to work with me, the answer is yes.
Awesome. Okay, ladies, thank you so very much for your time. And thank you, Toby, for being here. You
I
can
appreciate it. Thank you.
a final email from me on this lunch and learn within the next 24 hours. Okay. So
Have a
have a
good
good
day,
day,
everybody.
and we'll see you online or in person soon. Bye
Thank
now.
Yes.
you.
Bye.